At 40 years old, Cristiano Ronaldo was supposed to be finished, not declining, not slowing down. Finished, a passenger, a liability, a problem holding his team back. That wasn't social media talk. That wasn't rival fans. That was ESPN.
No, I'm sorry. And again, I've got nothing against Cristiano. It's just like our possession, he can't press, he can't run so much anymore. I understand that, but in possession, he's also a passenger, as we've said.
His link-up play,
and
no threat
almost
behind.
non-existent.
They told you the game had moved on. That football had evolved past him. That sentiment was the only reason he was still around. They spoke with certainty, with confidence, as if the conclusion had already been reached. But in one night, on one stage, with the entire football world watching, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't just win another trophy. He exposed the media, collapsed a carefully engineered narrative, and may have ended the Ballon d'Or debate once and for all. And most people still haven't fully understood what really happened, because this story wasn't loud, it was subtle, and that made it even more devastating. Before the tournament even reached its decisive moments, the story was already decided, at least in the media's eyes. This wasn't about who performed best, it wasn't about decisive moments, it wasn't even about winning, it was about succession. Football needed a new face, a new headline, a new symbol of the future, someone younger, someone easier to sell, someone who fit the timeline, and ESPN made it clear who those faces were supposed to be. On one side, Lamine Yamal, just 17 years old, fearless, electric, marketable, the perfect poster boy for the next generation. On the other, Ousmane Dembélé, finally healthy, finally consistent, finally ready, according to the narrative, to be crowned. The message was simple. If Yamal wins the Nations League, he wins the Ballon d'Or. If Dembélé wins it, then the award belongs to him instead. A clean transition, a symbolic passing of the torch, a story that writes itself. Except there was one massive obstacle standing in the way: Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo didn't fit the story. He was too old, too dominant, too inconvenient. You couldn't celebrate the future while the past was still deciding finals. You couldn't sell a new era while the old one kept winning. So the tone shifted. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about trophies anymore. It wasn't about leadership. It wasn't about goals. It was about minutes, about pressing, about what he doesn't do anymore. ESPN questioned why he was even selected, why younger players weren't starting instead, why Portugal was still carrying him. They called him a passenger, as if scoring goals was now optional, as if being decisive didn't matter anymore, as if football had forgotten what decides matches. Then came the semi-final, Portugal versus Germany, a matchup loaded with history and trauma. Portugal hadn't beaten Germany in 25 years. A generation of players had come and gone without changing that. Different coaches, different systems, same result. And once again, the focus wasn't on Ronaldo's potential impact. It was on whether he'd slow Portugal down. Then the moment arrived. One chance, one movement, one finish. Cristiano Ronaldo scored. Portugal win. History broken. And yet, the narrative didn't collapse. Instead, the goal was minimized. It's just one moment. How reliable is he across 90 minutes? Can you really build a team around that? For some reason, decades of decisive goals were treated like coincidence, like luck, like habit. But that semi-final wasn't the end. It was a warning. The final was marketed as destiny. Spain versus Portugal. Youth versus experience. The future staring directly at the past. From the opening whistle, Spain looked comfortable. Zubimendi scored first. Spain controlled possession. They dictated tempo. Portugal responded, but Spain struck again. Oyarzabal made it 2-1. At that moment, everything was set. This was supposed to be the passing of the crown, the final confirmation that football had officially moved on. You could almost feel the headlines being prepared. But football doesn't respect narratives. In the 61st minute, something subtle happened. Ronaldo didn't sprint. He didn't overpower anyone. He didn't rely on speed. He read the game. He moved before the defender realized danger existed. He attacked the space others ignored. He arrived exactly where the ball would land, not where it was. And he scored, not with flair, not with drama, with certainty. Portugal were level. Momentum shifted. Confidence drained from Spain. Belief surged through Portugal. And when the final whistle blew, Portugal were champions. This should have been the turning point. A 40-year-old playing 2 elite-level matches in 3 days, scoring in both the semi-final and the final. leading his country again. Moments like this usually rewrite reputations, but instead of celebration, the tone changed again. He got injured. What does this emotion even mean? It's shameless. Shameless. As if passion expires with age. As if winning no longer counts when the wrong person does it. Somehow, the conversation shifted away from achievement and back to criticism, and that's when the exposure became impossible to ignore. The Ballon d'Or was never about age, never about hype, never about potential. At its core, it has always been about impact. Who decides matches? Who changes outcomes? Who delivers when pressure is at its absolute peak? Not in theory, not in projections, but in reality. And across eras, across leagues, across generations, no one has answered those questions more consistently than Cristiano Ronaldo. Not once, not twice, but over 2 decades. England, Spain, Europe, international finals, teenager, prime, veteran, and now, at 40, this Nations League wasn't just another medal. It was proof that greatness doesn't fade on schedule, that football still rewards intelligence, positioning, and mentality, that the game doesn't care about optics. Ronaldo didn't argue, he didn't campaign, he didn't defend himself on television. He did what he's always done. He showed up, he scored, he won. And in doing so, he didn't just lift a trophy, he ripped apart the illusion that football had already moved on. So here's the real question. How many times does a player have to rewrite expectations before the conversation finally ends? How many semi-finals? How many finals? How many trophies? Because if this didn't settle it, then the Ballon d'Or debate was never about football in the first place.